I think I found one of the most addictive games on the Nintendo Switch for 2021. And thanks to some gaming preservation, gamers get to try out a prototype of a series resurrected on a system that I absolutely love. This and more with Play and Tell. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Play and Tell. I'm your host, Xander Skullion, where I talk about games I've been playing and leave little reviews, short impressions, and most importantly, when you walk away, you have something new to play. So recently, as of filming this, Easter has come and gone. Here we are in like almost the middle of May now, and Easter was really good. I had a really good Easter, but my good friend James Gruesome, the co-host of XS Game Podcast, sent me something, and he was like, hey, happy Easter, you need to go play this game. And of course, the game I'm talking about is Retromania. Now, Retromania is a indie game that captures the essence of old school wrestling, and something I don't really talk about on this channel. I talk about it sometimes on the podcast, that I grew up watching wrestling. I'm a big fan of old school wrestling, NWA, WCW, WWF. I mean, being a kid in the 90s, growing up in Wilmington, North Carolina, wrestling's in my blood. So how is this game? Let's talk about it. For anyone growing up playing WrestleFest, you know right away what to expect with Retromania. A tongue-in-cheek tribute to not only old school wrestling, but gamers like myself who grew up in the 90s playing on the SNES and Sega Genesis. Now I have to admit, not playing an old wrestling game in such a long time, the controls were some getting used to. The how-to is mostly explained with the story mode, which is a basic from bottom to the top story winning the NWA Gold. The game has plenty of old school wrestlers, from the Road Warriors to Blue Meanie and even Tommy Dreamer, and it made me feel like I was in a time warp of an era I honestly had long forgotten. From a Royal Rumble to cage matches, it's really a blast to play. It looks like they'll be adding some DLC as well in the future. If you're a wrestling fan and enjoy games like Fire Pro Wrestling, this might be something that you need to check out.
Listen to this crowd. We have the best in the world here tonight. He makes the tag. This man is a powerhouse. He's making a statement tonight. That's textbook, Ian.
Now, one of the things I was really upset about at the end of March was Nintendo shutting down the celebration for the 35th anniversary of Super Mario. Of course, you know, Super Mario 3D All-Stars is no longer in production. This right here, the Super Mario Game & Watch, no longer in production. You can still find these out in the wild, though. I still see stacks of these at my local Walmart. Same with Super Mario 3D All-Stars. But the nail in the coffin, the dagger that twisted in my abdomen of pain, was the shutoff of Mario 35. They shut down the servers. But with every door that closes, another one opens, and Namco Bandai came out of nowhere and was like, hey, you guys like Pacman? Check this out. Check out this. This is Pacman 99, a Battle Royale Pacman game. And I have to admit, folks, I'm not a huge Pac-Man fan. I grew up playing Pac-Man. I have an appreciation for Pac-Man, but I never went out of my way to play Pac-Man. But Pac-Man 99 is probably one of my most addictive games I've played this year. I absolutely love it. Something about the competitiveness of it and overall scope of this game. I mean, going through each maze, how it changes with the different patterns, and the freaking ghost trains, okay? All right, so there's these trains of ghost that when you eat certain lines of ghosts and you get the power pellet, they turn into ghost trains, and it's so satisfying just chomping them out in this line and just taking care of them. I absolutely love that. And then, you know, every time you eat a ghost, it sends, you know, ghosts and fake Pac-Mans to the other characters that will slow them down. It becomes very competitive. And I looked at my playtime on the Nintendo Switch, and it looked like I played about over 5 hours of Pac-Man 99, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the fact that these games they're very fast paced. Like it only lasts maybe, you know, if you're lucky, maybe 10 minutes. So 10 minutes for 5 hours, that's quite a chunk of gameplay, and the best I've done so far is number 3, but man, do I want to get number 1 so freaking bad. Now, one of my absolute favorite games on the N64, surprisingly, is Pokemon Snap. I absolutely love that game. I used to play it all the time. I used to print out the pictures at Blockbuster. So when I initially heard about a new Pokemon Snap, I was like, it's about time that we got a new Pokemon Snap. Because it was like every iteration of Nintendo that would come out, I'm like, man, they would make a great Pokemon Snap game. DS, great Pokemon Snap. Wii U, great Pokemon Snap. 3DS, great Pokemon Snap. Heck, even the Pokemon Go, I was like, wow, that would be really fun if you could do that in Pokemon Snap sort of way, too. I mean, there's too many times that Pokemon kind of focuses on training these little cute monsters and fighting with them and breeding them, and, you know, just there's so much more to it when you're playing it in Pokemon Snap and you're just acknowledging the wildlife of it. So, when they announced it for the Nintendo Switch, I was very excited, but I did forget about it. It wasn't until I went on Facebook one weekend and I saw everyone posting pictures being like, I got the new Pokemon Snap. And I'm like, oh, snap. I need to go to GameStop right now and pick up Pokemon Snap. So I went to GameStop, picked it up, and what can I say? It is Pokemon Snap to a T. The graphics are amazing. I love the fact that, you know, you're going on this little, you know, cart that protects you from everything else. But it's almost like a safari ride. You're riding through it and you're just like kind of sightseeing and taking pictures of various Pokemon, and you're trying to get information for a research lab. That's pretty much the story of it. But what makes it interesting is you level up, and as you level up from the pictures of Pokemon you take, the Pokemon start getting kind of more friendly around you. They start getting a little more used to seeing you. So every time you go back through, say there was a Pokemon in the beginning of the stage that's very shy, you couldn't take a picture of them. By the third time you're going through that on rails path, they start posing for you. They start like doing things, and you start capturing certain things. And I don't know. I haven't played that much of it. I think I've unlocked the 3rd area, like past the jungle stage. I've unlocked that. I don't know how long this game is, but for what it is, I've been really, really enjoying it. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're like me and had that nostalgia from Pokemon Snap back from the, you know, late 90s, this is definitely something you guys need to check out. In another game that I thought it was just a PlayStation 5 exclusive. I don't follow gaming news as much as I used to, because it kind of, I don't know, it gets kind of tiresome sometimes just following rumors and so-and-so said this is going on, and I just want to play video games. So sometimes I get kind of left behind on what's in the now. I had no idea this game was coming out for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Resident Evil Village. I thought this was going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, guys. Like, what happened? They announced it, and all of a sudden, boom, it's on everything. Which I'm not complaining about, because I don't have a PlayStation 5. I don't have a Series X. But, man, this game right here, it is so good. It is so good. It captures what I loved about Resident Evil 7, which was a very different Resident Evil. It was first person. It was more, I would say it was more intimate because of being this first person experience. You feel like you're in the game. And it's not like you're just watching someone like you do in third person. The first person I thought was a very good touch from Resident Evil 7. So you get that Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 8, but they add something else that I really love about this game. I'm getting remnants of Resident Evil 4. And I think, of course, I think that's what Capcom was aiming for. They're like, hey, let's make Capcom a spiritual successor to Resident Evil 4, and this is definitely that game. And I mean, you're waking up in this village. I don't want to spoil too much of the story, especially if you haven't played Resident Evil 7. But you're in this village. It's a continuation of 7. And this village is being overtaken by lichens, like these werewolf kind of creatures. You don't really have zombies. Which I don't mind. I don't mind not having zombies. I don't feel like Resident Evil has to have zombies. It has to have something that really creeps you out and wants you to survive in this horrific experience. And that's what Resident Evil 8 does. So many times I just kind of just stopped and was just looking at the atmosphere. I was like, oh man, looking at the snow, going inside the old houses and these Victorian kind of cottages. I mean, it is a great game. Admittedly, I'm not that far into it. I'm just now into the castle, and I'm trying to find my daughter Rose, little ginger baby. That's when you knew the game was going to be bad. When you get a little ginger baby, something's not right. But the game is really good. It is fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. And not having a PlayStation 5, I can't compare it, but I think it plays really well on the PlayStation 4. I'm playing it on my 4K television, and it looks fantastic. Now, I have to admit, guys, in the past, I wasn't the biggest fan of limited run games. I wasn't really that big into limited run games because I didn't really like the scalping, the babysitting the website crashing, waiting 5 months for the game to come, and it was just a lot of mess. And at the same time, I understand at the time they were a very small company doing something very big, so you're going to have hiccups. So, as years went on, I decided to give Limited Run a little chance, especially when they came out with this game. I had to buy it day one, reserve it, and that is Scott Pilgrim on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this game is kind of special to me because I remember this game coming out when I had the Xbox 360, and what made me really love this game was it's a beat 'em up. And you have to understand, at the time, I believe this was like 2012, 2011, beat 'em ups were a lost art. Now we have so many beat 'em ups. We have like River City Girls, we have Streets of Rage 4, we have Fighting Rage. You go on the eShop and there's almost like a whole category of beat 'em ups on the eShop and the PlayStation 4 and Steam. Beat 'em ups are back, but at the time, this was something very, very special, and I absolutely loved the movie. I remember watching the movie and being blown away. My friend Mikey, he read the manga, and he used to always tell me how great the manga was. And the music itself, that I feel like that revolutionized chiptune music. I feel like that kind of pushed things into the mainstream, which is not a bad thing because you started getting more people diving into video game style music. And I have to say, the reason why I bought this game and I wanted it physical is because I did want to have that piece of history in a physical format. The game got shut down and it was no longer available for the longest time unless you had a modded Xbox 360, or you had some sort of emulation on your PC, you were able to play Scott Pilgrim. But now this is a way that you can actually get in physical. And what was really interesting too, I do have to note, is it has a really nice little manual and a reversible cover as well. And the reversible cover is kind of reminiscent of like Sonic Adventure. So, is this game still available physical? Probably not, but you can still get it. You can still get it digitally on all major platforms. And if you have not played Scott Pilgrim yet, definitely play it. And speaking of gaming preservation, guys, I love emulation. I love the fact that we don't have to depend on physical media to preserve gaming history. And what I mean by this is something floated online. Someone was selling something on eBay, and then all of a sudden, boom! It was online that you could rip it into an ISO, or you could play it on a Dreamcast emulator. And of course, I am talking about Castlevania Resurrection. This game, it was like an urban legend. I remember seeing magazine clippings of this Castlevania coming out for the Sega Dreamcast that features Sonia Belmont, had a female Dracula, and if I'm not mistaken, there was actually video promos of this Castlevania game that ultimately never came out. And it was kind of an urban legend that there was a prototype of an early build. And I remember folks saying they had played it, and they knew friends of friends who had played it, but now anyone can play it now. So, of course, I went and I put it on my laptop, on my Dreamcast emulator. I have a Sega Dreamcast, but I decided just to play it through emulation. And it's good. It's not really so much of a game as it is an experience. Because what you're playing is essentially what could have been. And honestly, I mean, I feel like if this game would have got some polish, this game would have got finished, I think it would have been a very fantastic 3D Castlevania game. And the fact that it had Sonia Belmont in it, a Belmont that, is no longer canon in the Igarashi timeline, but I really always enjoyed her character. I always thought she was very interesting as a Belmont. So I love the fact that now people can play it, people can try it out. As a matter of fact, if you want to check it out yourselves, I'll have a link on the description below so you guys can download the ISO. You can either burn it on a CD, play it on your Dreamcast, or you can just play it using Recast or Redream. I prefer the Redream emulator. I feel like it's a really fantastic way to play Dreamcast emulation. But anyway, guys, those are some games I've been playing, and I want to thank you for joining me on another episode of Play and Tell. What have you been playing? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, but also hit that bell so you're notified on all future videos that come out on this channel. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and as always, happy gaming.